Good night, Kathy. Good evening. We thought we should have this little call here to speak about how we can work remotely during this time. Singapore's morning time. Kathy's in Houston. What, 8:30, what, 9 p.m. or something?
Yes.
So this is a little sharing session about our practice in the last few weeks. Maybe some of you who would still like to share Jin Shin Jyutsu during this time, can learn something from what we're doing. Or if you have your own experiences, please share under our video. So we can't see clients at the moment. Like Singapore, there's totally no physical treatments possible at the moment, but many of my clients still need ongoing support. So same with Kathy, I suppose. How is it over there with you in Houston? Can you see people?
Things are beginning to open up in Houston with some of the spas and so on, but I'm not. During the pandemic, I've chosen not to physically touch people currently, so I am doing remote healing, and it's working out very well, in fact. So, yeah.
How do you go about it? Like, which ways have you found to provide remote treatment to your clients?
Well, you know, there's different ways to approach this as a practitioner. So many of you know that you can remotely hold the intention of sending healing to people. So that's how we start. We hold the intention of sending healing to the person or people we wish to heal or help them along their healing journey. So now sometimes I do Jin Shin Jyutsu on myself. So for example, if I know that my daughter who lives in London needs a particular flow, I would think of her and I would bring her in my thoughts, and I would begin the flow and do the entire flow on myself until I felt that it was finished. And so that's what I mean by holding the intention. Do you do the same, Anke?
Yes, I think that's the preferred way for me to work. I have done Zoom calls, just teaching people self-help. Sometimes I'll work on a proxy as another person, but my really preferred way of doing this is like you work on myself. And I hold the intention, I connect with the person. Obviously it's important, especially if that person isn't physically there, that you have their permission. So like we can't have clients come in and say, hey, can you work on my grandmother? But it has to be this person. They have to be willing, and they have to ideally know when you're working on them so that, you know, the connection is there. And then while I perform Jin Shin Jyutsu on myself, I will very often really feel where the issue is, where the blockage is, where the area that really needs working on, which is amazing because I'm not that person. But at that moment, I become that field. I connect to their field, and I kind of become that person. So
it's interesting.
It's a bit for people who are not familiar with energy work or remote work, but it's similar to, like, I practice Reiki as well. So for me, it's completely natural that we are all one, that we are all one field, and this can work. I mean, there's scientific studies about it as well. But the main thing is the testimony. So does it work or not? And I have repeatedly made the experience that it absolutely works. And even in acute cases, I mean, I've had somebody with acute dental issues or pain or something, and you work on it, and they'll let you know. They'll tell you, hey, this went away, and you'll give them some follow-up work to carry on. And yeah, it absolutely
yes,
works.
I agree. We're working in the energetic field, and Jin Shin Jyutsu is energy medicine, and it really truly is medicine, but it is energy medicine. So I too do remote healing through Zoom, FaceTime, Messenger, and those are ways that we can share Jin Shin Jyutsu with people. So for example, some people I will call on the telephone, and that I'll say, are you ready for your session? And they'll tell me what they feel needs to be corrected that at that time. So then I say, okay, why don't you go lie down for a little bit, get rid of your phone, and get ready to relax. And so they go off and they lie down, and I text them and I say, okay, I'm beginning now. Now, I can do it two ways, but I quite like using the figure behind me. So this is just a model of the human body, and with the safety energy locks on the body. So I actually listen at the wrist with the intention of the person I'm working, and I can hear the energy locks, the bust line, waistline, hip line. I could hear everything, the texture of the person at the wrist. Mm-hmm. This is not about even trust. You can actually hear it. And then I begin flows. I decide, okay, how can I best help this person? And then I begin. And because this is energy work, I find that I can do the work much quicker. So mm-hmm. I generally do the treatment within 40 to 45 minutes tops. Mm-hmm. And then I'll listen in again to see how the body is progressing, and usually that I've done everything and the body is relaxed. But I'm also listening for self-help. So then I text the person back and say I'm finished, and then I decide what self-help would be, what the person can utilize. And I've got, sorry, I don't have it in front of me, but I have a, for example, this is what I use, and I think Anke, we've seen this before. So I will mark the energy locks that I'd like them to use, and I give them exact prescription, how long I'd like them to work on themselves, and then I just leave it. I send this to them by text. I leave it for a little while, and then I'll probably call in about an hour and see how they're doing. And honestly, they say it's uncanny. Like, how did you know? How could you hear this? Well, it is energy medicine, and that's how we know and how we can do it. The other way I do self-help is I'll do it through FaceTime or Messenger, where the person is facing me, and I'll ask them to sit down, and we're going to do it together. And I do self-help. So I teach them the self-help for the particular problem that they're experiencing. And I do a 30-minute to 40-minute with them. And then when we're finished, they've experienced what that feels like in their body. And then again, I will give them self-help that they can continue. And I check up on them a little bit later, like the next day, and say, how are you feeling? And most people have recovered from whatever was bothering them. Yeah, that's how I work.
Amazing. That's great. So I pretty much do the same. I'll do like a one-on-one video call with them to teach them the steps. And if some of them request it because maybe they can't remember or they don't know how to refer to the chart that you showed with the safety energy locks, sometimes I'll also just record a video for them and send it to them so that they can just replay it at their time whenever, if they have some difficulty in following the whole sequence of, sometimes you forget if it's slightly longer sequence, but I've also posted some of those things on my Facebook page. So just for reference, and then I'll just tag them in that if it's like a common thing. But if they're quite specialized self-help lessons, then I'll sometimes record them. Yeah.
Yes.
So, yeah.
So other people use dolls, stuffed animals to do their work, but it can be done, and it can be done effectively. So
well, your skinny man must be the luckiest person alive at the moment. He's receiving so much treatment. He'll probably reanimate himself into 3D soon and get up off that table and say thank you.
Well, for the people that are listening, I have been working doing Jin Shin Jyutsu for 20 years, and Anke has been doing Jin Shin Jyutsu for almost as long. She's been a student. When I lived in Singapore, we would attend classes together, and we've also shared Jin Shin Jyutsu with one another. So she and I have complete trust in our work, and I'm just delighted to be able to experience sharing this work with the people in the audience out here in cyberspace, and also with Anke, because you know, you're still working in Singapore, and I've moved off, and I'm on the side of the globe, but it's good to see you, and so happy that we're continuing with our lifelong love of Jin Shin Jyutsu.
Thank you so much, Kathy. I've learned a lot from you, and it's great to share, even though you're on the other side of the planet almost. But you know, where there is a will, there is a way, and this just shows we can just continue, even though we're not close to our clients or close to each other. We can just still continue working with this fantastic healing art. So don't let any of this get in your way. Keep sharing with your friends, family, and your clients. And stay well, Kathy, and hope to see you.
I just wanted to say, if you're interested in having a session with either Anke or myself, please contact us. We'll put our email. I'm JSJ Acupressure Houston. And Anke, what is your website?
You can just find me on my Facebook page. This is Jin Shin Jyutsu East Coast. Obviously, it's Singapore East Coast, but that's the name of my Facebook page where you can contact me.
Okay, it's great to see you again, Anke. And just remember, everybody, it's all in your hands. Take some time to treat yourself every day. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.